Whether you keep them in your home or love to see them in theirs, these are the creatures that bring us all together.
Reptiles. We're going to be delving into the experiences of reptile lovers from around the block and around the world. This is the Reptile Talk Podcast. What's up, everybody? This is Jeremy Turgeon from Brassman Reptiles.
And I'm Rob, and I'm keeping it real.
And I love when I throw random things last minute.
As we're about to start, he's like, we got to do a thing. And I'm like,
yeah, we forgot about that, but that's okay. So really quick, for everybody who's been patiently waiting for the temp gun giveaway, we have not forgotten.
No,
we've just both been very busy.
A list, and
Yep.
we've been very busy. But
yeah, so next episode
we'll have the
It's
winner
going down.
for our temp gun giveaway.
It's going
I'm
down.
pretty excited for it.
Yes, it's about time. I think everybody's like, me too, because I've been waiting for weeks.
I'm sorry. That's my fault.
Wonderful. All right, so
Dude,
Rob,
tonight's
who
gonna
do
be a fun
we
episode.
who do we have, Rob?
We got Marcial Mendez from Red Mountain Herp. Let's bring him
Bam!
on,
Let's
dude.
get him on here.
Boom! How's it going?
What's
man?
up, guys? What's happening?
So excited to have you on.
Hell
tonight.
yeah, man! Very excited.
Man, glad to be here.
And looks good in your new herp room.
Yes.
Behind
Thanks,
you.
man.
Yeah?
Appreciate it.
How
Yeah.
has that been? Setting all that
It's
up.
been awesome. It was a shitload of work, and it was two or three, I think about two and a half months of nonstop, pretty much every day, between work and regular animal chores and back and forth from the new house to the old house. And but I've been in here. The animals have been moved in since around mid-February, and everything seems to be settling in pretty well. Season, I don't know how it's going to affect me yet. Still got lots of things, breeding and paired up, but no ovulations yet. I did bring one clutch of chondro eggs over from the old place, and those ended up hatching. So I have hatched some new babies in the room already, but we'll see how the rest of the season plays out. How it affects things. But
man.
so far so good. Everything seems to be settled in well.
My season has
Hell
been
yeah.
super late. I just had a female Borneo ovulate like a couple days ago, and this time
Okay.
last year I already had eggs on the ground. So-
Oh wow. Yeah, I
So
usually
sad.
run things here. Usually run at least for me. Being in the southeast, winter is later than most everywhere else, and sometimes it doesn't even really get that cold until December. So it's not unusual for me to be running late. I don't think I had eggs at this time last year, but I think I had first clutch and maybe had a couple early ones in maybe May or early June, and then they went all the way through, pretty much all the way through. I was hatching stuff. I think I actually hatched a baby in November this year, which was the
Wow.
latest ever for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's silly.
So
That's so cool. But so I want to backpedal just a little bit. So for
Sure.
people who might not know who you are, what kind of got you like what really stoked your fire into reptiles? How'd you get to where you're at right now?
I've been into it since I was a kid, probably like most people that are listening. I think 7 or 8 years old, I got my first snake. It was a
What kind of snake was it?
California red-sided garter.
Ooh, very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Or actually, it was a Western red-sided, so it didn't have the blue, but the kind of red checkerboard pattern.
Cool.
Then I moved on to corn snakes and a boa, ball pythons, kind of things like that when I was younger, and then got out of the hobby for a couple years while I was in college. Just didn't really have time or a place to do it. And then as soon as I got out, I started, which was in '98. Started building the collection that I have today. So I would say what really kind of got me, was just seeing snakes in the pet shop when I was a kid, and then also books. Always have been kind of obsessed with green tree pythons. They've been my favorite since I was a kid. I used to see them in books, and when I was younger, I don't know, elementary school, I lived in Tampa, Florida, and there's a guy by the name of Joe Fossey that's down there. And I'm not, he's pretty sure he's still in business, but you've probably heard his name before. He was pretty instrumental in the early days of, just being able to get things. And I had this weird connection with him where he was like my grandmother's hair stylist's son or something like that. But anyway, he found out that I was into snakes, and my dad used to take me over to his shop all the time. And there at his house, I saw like my first green tree pythons in the flesh, and
heaven opened up.
That was it.
Like, oh.
So it's been all downhill from there. So
that's awesome. That is so cool. I can't even remember. I think that the first time that I saw a green tree python in person was like a little neonate. It wasn't even an adult one. And I was just like, oh, that's like a very, very weird looking snake, because like, you know, when they're little, most of the ones that I saw when I was younger was like the bright yellow babies.
Sure.
And I was like, that is just so strange. Why is it that bright yellow? Because like from reading books when I was younger, I would like associate that like bright yellow color with like eyelash vipers and stuff. And I'm like, I don't know if I like that. That's kind of weird. But green tree pythons, I feel like a lot of people who are into green trees kind of have that, where they're like, you know, ever since I was a little kid, I saw like a picture of one in a book, like perfectly perched back and forth on the branch. And it's just like, ever since then, my whole life has been leading up to green tree pythons.
Yeah, that's how it was with me for sure.
And you work with a little bit of emeralds too, right?
I do. Green trees and emeralds have been kind of what I've been working with for the longest. And then maybe, I don't know, I've kind of got a mismatch of stuff now. I would say numbers wise, the biggest thing I have is ball pythons. But as far as, you know, what I like working with the best, if I could only keep one thing that I've got, it would be the chondros, and the emeralds would be close behind. But I do have ball pythons now, and I've got you know, just some other odds and ends. I've got some Amazon tree boas. I've got some couple of cool colubrids, some California red-sided garters, Mexican black kings, a small group of Pecos Ratsnakes.
Yes, I love Pecos.
yeah, they're awesome. I guess I got 3.3 of them,
Cool.
maybe last year, the year before. So I'm raising those up. Haven't produced any yet, but you know, one of these days. And then some rough scale sand boas. And I think that's everything. So you know, mainly just trios and small groups of most everything except for the chondros, emeralds, and the ball pythons. Oh, and BCC. I have a pair of Suriname red tails.
Yeah.
Ooh, very nice.
Yeah. Do you find that so the green trees definitely have got like your main passion, and then the emeralds right behind them? I feel like when I worked with them, I worked both, you know, with each of them. I really was drawn to the emeralds. I really like the way that their face looks. It's like so ancient, and I don't know. For me, they felt like they were a little bit more hardy than the green trees.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I'm with you on that. They are. And they're bigger. You know, if you just kind of see them side by side, they're kind of a more impressive snake, in my opinion. But what draws me to the chondros more is there's a lot more variability. You know, even with a basin, you know, as beautiful as they are, you know, I've got some, but it's basically a green and white snake. The pattern can be different. You know, it can have more white, less white, striping or no striping, or you know, but at the end of the day, it's a green snake with a white stripe down its back. And with the green trees, you've just got so much variation as far as just, you know, blue and yellow and black and, you know, all the
green
colors.
Tree pythons that like
that's
a nice sarong or a Jayapura with the like blue stripe and the markings on the face and everything. I really like.
Yeah. So that's you know, that's the reason why. But I would agree, they're a little more. They're not as hardy. Very rarely do I have an emerald problem with them, you know, getting sick, or you know, even the babies, man, just getting them started. They pretty much start on their own.
They usually take pretty good,
yeah. And green trees are just they're just a pain in the ass in every aspect, which you know, I guess is
it's a kind
of why.
Love.
That's right.
Them holding on to the Morelia complex just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh. Do you have a locality of the green trees that you prefer over
No,
any of
I
the
don't
others?
really. I don't really work with. I don't have any localities. All my stuff is more, what's called designer stuff. Just kind of
Yep.
captive bred lines that go back. A lot of my stuff goes back to Trooper Walsh. She was the first person, I think, first or second person in the U.S. back in the '70s to breed them. So yeah, so all of my, I don't have any pure locality stuff. Although I do like some of the localities. It's just, you can only work with, you can only do so much.
So much.
Yeah.
And then you also, I want to touch a little bit on the albino chondros,
Yeah.
because like those are just what?
Yeah.
And it's been this thing that, some of the bloodlines from that project have kind of been sprinkled around here and there, and it's kind of been tough to really hit on it and to get the project up off the ground.
Yeah.
So I just want to know more about that, because I know a little bit from just, paying attention, but I'm not super plugged in.
Yeah, so I kind of lucked into the project. I bought my het male prior to the first one in the U.S. hatching, and it just happened to be related to it. So once I figured that out, I was like, oh, so I've got a possible het here, and I just kind of worked. That was in 2002 when the first one was hatched by Damon Salces. And I had so he hatched an albino, and then I had a baby from a sibling to the parents of his albino. So,
like 66.
so yeah, so he was actually like a 25% when I got him, because he was a het from he was a possible het from a possible het.
That's
so then,
man, yeah.
Yeah. So then Trooper went on to prove out the father of my snake as an albino, which then made mine a 50% het. And then I finally hatched the first one in 2013. And I've hatched, I think, including the one that I hatched earlier this year, I've hatched maybe five or six, and all but one have pretty much died as babies. They were all, I don't know if it's just shitty luck or if there's, maybe some kind of, bad whatever tied to the gene. But I'm tending to think that it's just bad luck, because the one that I had this year, out of six babies, it was the only one that hatched with its umbilical cord tied in a knot. So
that's really bad luck.
it is, it had to be that one, of course. So of course it was like half the size of all the siblings, and I felt pretty good about him at first. He was, even though he was small, my track record with little runts like that is really not that great. So I didn't have high hopes to begin with, but he was pretty feisty, would strike and would grab. And, I tried to let him go a couple of weeks, and then I suspected a pinky head, just because it'd been so long. And I mean, he was so small to begin with. I didn't want to let it, go too long before I intervened, and did a pink head, took it down, no problems. And then tried to feed him again another week or two after that. And, same thing, assist fed him another pink head. And then the next morning he was dead. So, yeah, but that's par for the course for this project and just chondros in general. So the cool thing about the line is that it does produce some really cool looking babies, regardless of whether they're albino or not. Lots of cool melanistic stuff, and blue and high yellow, pretty much all calico-esque looking animals, all can come from these Trooper Walsh bloodlines. So that's been kind of the one good thing about the project, is that even though it's not been a success yet as far as hatching, viable albinos. Kind of the animals that have come out of it are all really nice. So I did have one albino live to be about 2 years old. That was the one I produced in, I think, 2014. And then it died from like this weird intestinal blockage issue. I had him out for had her out for pictures one day, and noticed she had a big bulge on her side. And of course, took her to the vet. I've got a pretty good herb vet that I'm friends with that's real close to me, and she took him and did a necropsy, or not, did a ultrasound, just try to figure out if it was a tumor, or if it was what it was. And she said, "Oh, it's not a tumor. It's probably, it looks like poop or hair, something is caught up inside of it somewhere." And anyway, so we tried several different things to try to get it to pass through. None of it worked. So ended up doing surgery on her, and she died as a complication of the surgery. But what it was is it had like a mouse claw or something that had kind of lodged into the side of her intestinal tract.
Oh man.
And it was just acting like a hook.
Irritant,
So any hair or whatever that would go by, it was just grabbing it, and it just started building up. And so another just kind of freak thing. But that one lived to be 2, and was had pretty much just finished going through its color change, which they kind of turned that kind of golden yellowy color, which is kind of cool, because the 2 that have made it to adulthood before mine, one from Damon, one from Trooper, they were both yellow babies, and they turned that golden yellow color. And most of the ones that I've produced have been red babies. And it also changed that color. So,
and it's so tough to tell when they're first born that they're actually albino. They're just like, because they're so like dark red. It's so crazy. Yeah, it's cool. You can there's a couple different ways you can tell. I kind of look for 3 things: red pupils, which every other chondro's got black pupils, so that's pretty much a giveaway. A pink tongue, whereas normally most of them all have black tongues, and then no black at all in the pattern. So, most red babies and even some yellow babies in the baby pattern will have some degree of black, but these don't. They have 0 black. And another thing that I've kind of noticed too is the inside of their heat pits are pink. So, so cool.
So those are kind of the things that you look for. But it is really, really hard to tell them apart from just normals. But what's cool is that in Europe right now, in Portugal, there is an adult pair that somebody has.
Oh
wow.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
So yeah. So wishing them luck, and hopefully they can get some traction with the project.
Yeah, man, that would be so. And then especially because if they're able to produce some, maybe if we can get some into the U.S., use that to strengthen up the bloodlines that are over here, and maybe
totally
a better success rate over here.
Yeah,
awesome.
That would be awesome. Yeah,
that'd be so cool.
Totally. That's what I'm hoping for. So, like I said, I wish them best of luck.
Yeah, it's the thing with chondros is you need to have patience, lots and lots and lots of patience.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, like I said, this project's been going on for me since 2002, so it's almost 20 years now.
Wow,
and
that's wild to think about, huh?
Yeah.
And then we probably met online. What, like?
Just trying to think about that earlier today. It's been like, I feel like I've known you almost since I got back into it. So I think how long have you been working for Kevin?
I've been like volunteering for Kevin for like 15 years. It's coming up on 15 years right now. Since I was like right around 17.
Okay.
And that's kind of right around when I was on the blood and short tail farms and all that sort of stuff. Like what 2007-ish time, 2006, 2007. So probably right around there.
Yeah, I feel like I've known you a long time. I was trying to think earlier where exactly, how or where we met or whatever. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I think the first time that we met was at Tinley 2013. Because I think that you guys were vending along the back wall.
Yeah.
And yeah, you guys had all the green trees set up, and I was like, oh my goodness. You're like, wait, that's Rob. And I was like, oh my God. Man, it has been a trip. It has been a trip to think it's been that long.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. Time flies.
So this new room that you've got set up now, did you specifically have this set up in mind, or did you have the house picked out and you're like, I can make this kind of work? And
no, yeah, I mean, it's not an ideal. It was not an ideal spot, but you know, we my wife and I just, you know, we love the rest of the house. So I was just like, man, I can, you know, I got to change some things, but I can make this work, you know. And it's really not, it's great as far as, you know, I've got lots of natural light, and it's got a nice view, and it's, you know, it took a shitload of work to get it to where it was going to be functional. You know, everything's down a flight of stairs, everything, you know, so bringing all these racks and cages and, you know, building my my rodent room was all down a steep ass long flight of 20 or so stairs. So, you know, hauling shit down. And then, you know, same thing, like when I go get rodent food and I'm bringing 300 pounds of food down, I got to lug it all down the stairs. And when I'm cleaning the rodents, I got to carry the, you know, dirty rat shit litter up a flight of stairs to the street, to the trash can.
You know,
so
you need one of those like old people chair things that's like got the automatic there. Just like you got to work smarter, not harder.
Yeah, that's right. So it's not in an ideal spot, but you know, now that everything is in here, all the hard work is pretty much done, except for just the, you know, just the up and down of getting trash in and out and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I've got a lot more space than I had in my old place. I thought I was going to have you know, you don't really realize how much stuff you have until you try to move it and try to rearrange it. But my old room was, I mean, literally just all around the perimeter walls, floor to ceiling. And then I had an island in the middle with more racks in it, and like a little cart path, like a little racetrack in the middle where I could get my work cart around. And if I had to get around the work cart, I had to like walk all the way around, you know. So this is a lot more comfortable place. I've got, you know, like I said, nice view, lots of windows. And I've got some room to expand, you know, I've got a lot of room to expand. I just, you know, I want to keep the view and not block the windows.
Not block the
yeah. I've got a little bit of room. I can put, you know, a few more things in here, but you know, right now, I'm happy with where I'm at as far as numbers, and I'm not trying to get a whole lot bigger than this. Not right now, at least.
You said you're getting into reticulated pythons, right?
100% blocking the windows. The retics are coming.
So this is like a newer setup for you. So I'm curious how like the summer's gonna go, because when I see like when I think about reptile rooms with like big windows and stuff, I think about like the temperature fluctuations from the light coming in and everything. But I think you got like trees around
I
the
do.
perimeter, so you got that blocking a little bit more of that sun. But you still get a little bit of that natural sunlight coming in, right?
Yeah, it gets a ton of natural light, but it's very little. Now that the trees have come in the summertime, it's very little, like, you know, intense direct sunlight.
Good.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So, I mean, the house on pretty much on every side here where the snake room is, I've got kind of basement wall on one side, and then it's really kind of like a deck to the backyard on the other sides. And there's trees or house on every side. So far it's held temperature really a lot better than I was thinking it was going to. I did have to, I did insulate the shit out of it, you know, that was part of what I did when I was, you know, kind of getting it ready, because it wasn't going to work the way it was before. Basically it was concrete block walls and but no insulation at all. Mm-hmm. And so I insulated it and, you know, sheetrocked the whole room and put a ceiling in it and put a shitload of insulation above the ceiling. So, you know, so far so good. Definitely, I think it's going to be harder to keep temperature up in the wintertime. In the summertime, it gets hot. It gets hot here. So even though it's shady, I don't think I think because it's at least partly underground and partly shaded, and partly up against the rest of the house, I don't think it's going to need air conditioning. But we'll see. This is me, kind of taking it as it comes.
Yeah. Rob and I, throughout the week, as you were like posting stories on Instagram of like the progress, like, did you see what's going on?
I'd be like, did you see the thing?
Yeah.
Did you see the wall over here and all the paint and all this stuff? And I was like, dude, this is so exciting. Like, I was getting excited watching you do your room.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that was fun. It was fun to do. I'm glad it's over. It just it totally consumed everything that I had for energy, time, money, everything for just the whole planning of it and then executing it. And just, the stress of having to deal with this plus my regular job, plus all the, normal animals don't stop being animals just because you're too busy to do, take care of them,
Yeah.
So just trying to keep up with that, and then living in one place and having the collection in another place.
Oh,
yeah,
stress.
It was a rough couple of months. So like I said, I'm glad it's done, but it was a lot of fun planning it out, and really doing the work was pretty fun too. Would have been awesome if I could just not have gone to work, those days. Just done this, but doing it on nights and weekends, it made it nonstop for sure.
Yeah,
that's cool. So you are in the Southeast. You're in Alabama, right?
Yeah, Birmingham.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of what the winters are down there. You said it doesn't get cold until December-ish, right?
Yeah. We get. I mean, it's actually kind of cold right now for us. We're down in the 30s tonight, which is a kind of cold snap for this time of year. But
that's us, man.
Yeah,
that's us up
right
here
now. Yeah. It's gross.
It can get really cold here, but never for prolonged periods of time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there was several times since we've moved in where it's been down into the low teens or 9-10 degrees. But it'll last for a night or two, and then it'll be back up to 50 or 60 the next day. So, but now in the summertime, the heat is relentless. Here it's it's mid-April now, which this is not that unusual for us to have kind of one last cold snap, which I feel like I've said that 3 times now. So, this probably is the last one, but man, once summer gets here, first week of May, it's not unusual for it to be 100 degrees outside. So, yeah. And then, all throughout the summer, the nights are decent. The nights are high 70s most of the time, but in the daytime, man, it can be really, really brutal, hot and humid, sticky.
Yeah. It's that humidity, man. The humidity is what does it.
Yeah.
So are there any projects that you're looking at and you're like, oh man, I really want to get those, and you just kind of been waiting on, or is there, what's the deal?
With me, the for the chondros, I'm pretty much focusing on my albino stuff. Pretty much everything that I have now, with the exception of I've been working on the project for so long that almost every animal I have is at least a 50% het. And just with nidovirus and all the kind of crazy stuff that's going on, I haven't brought a new green tree in geez, I don't know. It's been 6-7 years probably since I've brought a new chondro into the collection. So, there's a lot of great stuff out there, but the market in chondros right now, it's crazy. You can't find captive bred stuff, and even just, decent, nothing, no super crazy bloodlines. I mean, people are just paying obscene money right now for them.
Yeah.
Which is it's great, if you've got them, but for somebody just kind of trying to get into them, or if you want to buy into a project, you're going to spend $5-6 grand on a little neonate. Yeah.
Man, it's silly. Like, I think that part of that has to do with, from my understanding, the guy who was doing a lot of the breeding for Bushmaster passed away 5-6 years ago.
He did.
So he was doing
And
a lot of the
Rico.
breeding for Chondros, and then Rico in
Yeah.
the U.S. And so those two things, like, together, that's like a boom catalyst for not a whole lot of green tree pythons being produced, in the world.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to diminish any of the people who are breeding them, because there are people who are breeding them, but the guy over in Indo was like pumping out green tree pythons to the point where, like, you could get like an Aru or a Jayapura for like what, $400, $500.
Yeah.
I don't think I've seen a Jayapura for sale in a very long time.
Yeah.
Like, the only green trees I've seen are just like little Beox, and even now they're like what, $500, $700, $800, $900 right now.
Yeah.
Which is
that's
ridiculous.
insane.
Crazy to me. Absolutely crazy to me.
Yeah. And that's imports, for captive bred stuff. It's even crazier.
Even more.
And so, so as far as those green trees go, maybe I'll swap some babies with somebody that I know and trust at some point. But, for now, things are kind of locked down. Most of the new stuff that I'm getting is ball pythons. I kind of lucked out when I got into them, and kind of picked what morph I was going to go for right almost when I started breeding them. And it's just now in the last 4 or 5 years has started to pay off. So all of my ultra male clown stuff, pretty much everything.
Hell yeah.
Everything that I have, ball python wise, not everything, but like 75% of what I have in the collection is tied to that project in some way. So they're either, double hets with other codom genes on top, or they are visual for one and like possible het for the other. So I think I probably have like maybe 75 or 80 adult animals, and all of them are related to the project. So hadn't produced an ultra clown combo yet, but I've got plenty of chances to do that here pretty soon. I've had chances to do it. It just hasn't worked out for me the last couple of years. Produced plenty of ultra clowns. I think I've produced I don't know, maybe 12 or 15, something like that.
Wow.
Over the last since 16, I think I made the first one. Or my first one. I don't know if it was the first one ever. It may or may not have been. I don't know. But I've produced a couple every year since then. So now I'm just trying to get every year for the last 2 or 3 years I've just bought into. I'll buy a new gene that I don't already have. Mainly codom stuff that'll either be. It's hard to find stuff that's double het for both, because there's just, I don't know why, but there's just not a whole lot of people working with it. I'm sure that'll change as time goes on, but like even on Morph Market, man, like I'll put stuff up, and I mean it just sells like almost immediately. I've got like 3 babies left from last year, out of like 100 and something for sale. So I'll buy like a couple years ago I bought some blackheads that are het for ultramel, or I'll buy something that's het for clown, just something that I can work into the project. But I'm pretty much going to just because of space and time constraints, I'm going to focus everything just strictly on ultramel clown.
That's the way to do it, man.
Yeah, the ultra gene is definitely it's one of those that had like a very quick upward trajectory when it originally kind of hit the scene, because it was the non-kinking caramel.
That's right.
And everyone was super happy about it, and then it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, you get rid of the color palette and it's just it's whatever. And then a couple people were just like, look at this ultra combo.
Yeah, look at this.
And then it was like, bam, back up on the upward. So yeah, dude.
Yeah, I bought I think 6 of them in 2011. And have, that's pretty much all I've been working with since then. I think the very first year that I bred them, I had a clown female, and I bred the ultramel male to a clown female, and ended up getting really lucky and hit 5 females in that clutch. And
Oh wow.
yeah, and I've still got all 5 of them here. They're just my breeders, and I'm pretty good about not selling stuff. I'll keep the nicest stuff. I don't sell the good stuff. Even though you think you can make it again, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way. And you get lucky on the first shot, and you might hit it, and then it might be 3 or 4 years before you make another one.
We have a couple triple het projects that we've gotten eggs from this year, and we've just missed on everything. And it's like, are you kidding me right now? Statistically, we should have hit 1 out of all these clutches that we got. We should have hit some sort of double combo.
So are you doing just doing triple het to triple het, or are they visual for one of them?
No, it was we did like a clown pied to like ultra combo or whatever. So like 100% triple hets.
Yeah, 100% triple het.
Okay.
100% triple het.
Yeah. So that's like a 1 in 64 to get all 3.
Yeah.
So those are long odds. You got to have a lot of eggs. You can't. You're not going to get it with just 1 pair. You got to have.
I want to see just even a double, because like 1 out of 16 should have been a double, and we didn't even hit any doubles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Yeah. It's like, hey, here's one
clown.
Yeah, here's the clown. Enjoy that. And we're like, okay, that's great.
We've already got some of those.
Yeah, exactly. And then, of course, you're breeding het to het. So to add the insult to injury, it's like, not only is it recessive, but it's only possibly het for the rest of the stuff.
I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Terrible.
But that's just kind of how it goes sometimes, and not everyone talks about that, where like sometimes you're breeding for this specific thing and it just doesn't work out. What was it? Kevin bred a normal to a champagne and produced 9 normals, not a single visual champagne in the clutch.
Way back in the day. Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, man. That's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah. There was
go ahead. I was gonna say, sometimes you get the opposite and you get super lucky.
Yeah, very true.
So you gotta take the good with the bad.
Yeah, I think that was kind of like our some of our retic pairings. In our retic pairings this year, we've hit some really good combos at like high odds, and then the ball pythons, we've just been like swing and a miss, and miss. I swear, you're supposed to hit the side of the house once, like just once. By accident. A broken clock is right twice a day. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
It's true.
That's right.
True. This is why nobody did multi-recessive combos years
back
ago.
In the day,
like codoms, just
heads,
codoms.
Heads.
I want visual results right now.
Yeah. And that's that's one of the big things, being from kind of coming up in the chondro in the chondro world. Nothing happens fast. I went 11 years working on the albino chondro project before I hit the first one. And now it's like, you think about, ball pythons, man, like if you don't hit it in 3 years, you're like, you're behind.
Yeah, you're like, sell it, just sell it, sell the whole damn project, just buy it.
I was telling Kevin that earlier because we got some micro scales that are het for clown, and we've had 3 clutches so far and not a visual clown out of the pairing. And I was like, Kevin, this is it. We need to get rid of them. I'm so over it. I'm so over it.
The constant disappointment is.
Well, I'm just saying, like for Kevin, it's like he's got to hit that combo to make it worth it for him.
Yeah.
And we've had 3 clutches and not a visual clown out of it. I'm like, are you sure these are clowns?
Yeah. Maybe get switched somehow.
This is stressing me out right now.
Yeah. But so that's just how it goes sometimes. This past year, I did a ultramel clown to a ghost possible het ultramel, and I got 7 eggs, 6 ultra males.
Damn.
Of course, all 6 were males. So,
You see them all hatch and you're like, yes,
yes.
Yeah, they get out of the egg. Pop. No.
I was like, oh man, there's no way 6 males. But that's how it goes, man.
That's just how it goes sometimes.
Absolute moment.
That's how I felt with the marble Borneos last year. I was like, I got this real nice clutch of marble Borneos, and I was like, I just need we need half of them to be girls, and I'm going through. It's like male, no, male. Why no?
That was last year's Ocelot carpet clutch too. It was like, oh man, this one looks. Oh, that's a boy. Oh, but this one looks really cool. Oh, that's a boy too. And you're like, well, all the girls are the ugly ones. Great, just get rid of them.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh no.
But that makes it all that much better when you do finally hit it.
Of course. Sure. All right. Before I totally forget to do this, we're going to take a short 90-second ad break for our sponsor, and we'll be right back. We are super happy to announce our partnership with OASIS Exotic Enclosures, a new startup cage manufacturer based in California. Matt and Steph Conard have taken their time developing a wonderful quality product. The VS31 enclosure is their flagship model. It's 31 inches by 20 inches by 20 inches. It's perfect for many smaller species of colubrid, boa, python, or even some nocturnal lizards. Made with industrial-grade polyethylene plastic via in-house rotational molding, these cages have the strongest bonds in plastic manufacturing. Each enclosure has molded-in inverted handles on the sides, making moving from one place to another easier than ever. Each cage also has bolt-threaded inserts to allow you to connect cages vertically or secure them to a wall, creating impregnable security for that ever-growing collection. Also, a wonderful addition, the option to receive wall mounting brackets for your enclosure. That's right, you can attach this cage to any wall in your house at any height you desire. This wonderful patent-pending adaptation provides you the ability to take that cage you have just placed on a table or on the floor up higher without wasting valuable floor space. This also allows you to no longer loom above your pet before entering the enclosure, which is often a high cause of stress. Matt and Steph have just begun their journey into cage manufacturing and have worked to put out a quality product at a comparable price to other companies in the industry. More innovations and designs are forthcoming, and we are excited to see OASIS Exotic Enclosures grow and develop. Please go check them out on Instagram at OASIS Exotic Enclosures and on the web at www.oasiscages.com. Boom, and we're back. So make sure you guys go check out OASIS Exotic Enclosures. All their links will be put in the bottom of the YouTube video and will be available in the description of the podcast. Sweet. So we both want to talk about some Pecos Ratsnakes.
Okay,
because
sure.
We geek out.
Dude,
over pictures all the time.
I remember you used to see them at the expos like all the time, and I'm like, man, those silver blondes and the silvers just like draw me in, and I was like, man, those are cool, but I don't really keep colubrids, so I don't know if I should do that. Yeah. So I was like thinking about it like a year ago because I bought colubrids for kind of the first time. I mean, I kept spilotes and stuff, but not like regular colubrids. So
whoa.
What? No, I like my spilotes.
Regular colubrids.
Dude, okay, so corn snakes are not the same as spilotes at all in any way.
I'm not saying that.
That's what I'm saying. So when I would see the Pecos at the expos, I was like, man, those are cool, but I don't really keep anything like that. So like I got to keep it moving. And so now, like a year ago when I got my corn snakes, I got some Okatee corns, and I was like, I would love to get just like a silver blonde Pecos. And I started looking for a silver blonde Pecos, and I cannot find one. I have not seen one for sale. I've been looking like pretty regularly since then, and anytime they show up, they're gone like before I have a chance to buy them. It's been tough.
Yeah, they can be hard to find for sure. I don't know why, because I mean they're I guess they're not super easy to breed from what I can gather. They're a little bit temperamental for colubrids. Like, like I've got some Mexican black king snakes here, man, and they're just like, they're bulletproof.
Yeah.
You can, they're the garbage, just any leftover rats I've got, I'll just chunk them in there. They'll eat, maybe they get one, maybe they get three.
Yep.
Yeah. So, super hardy, but the Trans-Pecos, man, if they get too humid, they'll puke. If you feed them too big of a meal, they puke. You can't feed them too often. I guess that's really the main thing is they're bad pukers. If something is not, something's not right. They are really cool, interesting snakes. They're really active, really, laid back. You can, take them. They're not aggressive at all. Curious. They've got, the bug eyes are kind of, an endearing quality. And, the morphs, are cool too. So the silver blonde is, I've got one male, and man, it's unbelievable. The colors on them. Yeah. It's just like totally like I don't even know how to describe it. Like this light gray kind of ish color. Yeah.
So cool. Even the regular ones.
But yeah, I've got a 3.3 group. I've got a couple of albinos. I've got the River Road line of albinos. And then I've got a pair of blondes and one azanthic and one azanthic blonde. So I don't have any normals. I'd like to get at least a couple. I mean, I can make some with what I've got. But but yeah, man, they're super cool. And the fact that they're hard to get, makes them a good. For me, it was a good choice for colubrids, just because they'll be easy to sell if I ever produce them, and plus I like them. That's the main thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They're just so cool. And I joined a Trans-Pecos group, and just like watching all the people on there post the different ones that they've got, and I'm just like, there's so much variability in them.
Yes.
Because the normals usually have like that kind of track, like the train tracks down the back.
Yes. Yeah, the H's.
But some of them don't even have that. Some of them have got like just like the little bow ties, and then it's
stripes.
So weird, and fully striped ones and stuff. It's so crazy. Like, and that's such a weird thing to me, because thinking about like a U.S. native species, like I've never really been super into keeping U.S. native species. I've always been like exotic. I want something from
same.
Asia. I don't want something that I can drive someplace and find. And then just like within the last couple of years, I'm finally getting like an appreciation for U.S. native species. And
the
fact that you could drive and find one, that'd be so cool.
Yeah. I love them, man. They're great. I guess the only there's a couple other colubrids that maybe I would, want to get eventually. I like gray bands. They're kind of a cool alterna. They're a cool as far as native snakes. And then what else is on my list? I love the Arizona Mountain Kings too.
Those are so cool. I think that those are very underrated. I feel like not a lot of people know what they are even, and it's so crazy because like I think of like back in the day, like Bob Applegate and like a lot of the Pyromelena, I think Pro Breeders bred them too. And I just remember opening up Reptiles magazine and seeing these like bright pyros with like the reduced black on them. Like, oh my goodness, that thing's silly looking. And nowadays, people would probably see it and they'd be like, "What kind of snake is that? Is that? What kind of milk snake is that?" It's like, it's not a milk snake, damn it.
Exactly. Well, I think that's one of the things is like, it's a tricolor.
Yeah.
So people see, you see milk snakes so much, especially like a Puebloan milk snake or whatever, and you're like, oh, okay, maybe it's just a different kind of milk snake or whatever. But I think one of the things like Brian Barczyk and I had talked about them a while back, and one of his gripes about the species was just they're not a high production species, so you're not getting a lot of eggs out of them. So a lot of people are like, oh, if I'm going to breed this, like I want to be able to breed it, produce animals to sell, obviously. But if you're only getting 3 to 5 eggs, it's not, it might not be worth it. in the long run. But
as colubrids are making their resurgence, man,
I agree.
I'm saying that's going to be like
I think they're awesome. Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah, I really like them. So maybe I'll get some of those, one of these days. And like I said, the gray bands too. I like the fact that they're so variable. And there's, a bunch of
particular locale you like.
I know what I like, but I don't know what it's called. I couldn't tell you.
Blair's phase that's like the bright orange and
Yes.
silver bands. Okay.
Yeah, I like those. And then I also like the ones that kind of don't have any orange, that are just kind of gray with like the black,
Yeah.
Again, I think it's just kind of the variability of them that attracts me to them. Just because there's so many different looks.
Yeah. I really like. Ever since I was little, I've been fascinated with Arizona. Like since I was very, very, very young, like probably too young to fully appreciate all the different species that you can find in Arizona. But like I used to read in books that they had like rattlesnakes and king snakes and all this stuff. And I was
Gila monsters.
Gila monsters. Yes, I was like, I need to go to Arizona. I need to do it. And so I went to Arizona like 5 years ago. I didn't find a ton of like snakes, but ever since I went, I was like, okay, I need to go back. I need to find more snakes because there's just like so many opportunities to see cool reptiles there. And like I saw a astronomical amount of chuckwallas, like an unreasonable amount of chuckwallas. And I was like, I thought chuckwallas were rare. I didn't realize that everywhere I turn, there's going to be one between a crack in the rock. And then like I saw a lot of banded geckos, and I saw some desert tortoises, and I saw one Pituophis out there, and I saw a patch nose snake, and like tons of different kinds of lizards and stuff. But I was like, where are the snakes hiding? I don't know. Like I went in May, so it was like a little bit chilly. Everyone I talked to there was like, you don't see like a lot of snakes until like June or July. And I'm like, crap, damn it.
Just missed.
So I need to plan another trip to Arizona because like that is, I don't know why, like it calls my soul. Like when I went to Sedona, it just like felt like home. There.
Unbelievable.
Such a beautiful area. And thinking about the different species that are out there, I'm just like, oh, I need it.
They've got some amazing rattlesnakes too. That's kind of
Millardi.
All the different rock rattlesnakes. I don't even know what they're called. I just know what they look like. Like around here we have like we've got two, or with pygmies we've got 3 species here. But up here in my area, it's really just the only thing that you see pretty much is timbers. There are pygmies I've never seen. I mean, I'm not like I don't go herping a ton, but just from growing up here, and I've seen and come across a ton of timber rattlesnakes.
That's awesome.
And the eastern diamondbacks are south of here. They're we have them in Alabama, but they're kind of coastal. So more down towards Florida, but around here pretty much just timbers. So it's cool that in Arizona there's so much variability again, so many different kinds. Yeah.
Yeah. Up here we just have timber rattlesnakes and copperheads, but like they're both endangered, so it's
so if you see them,
find them.
Yeah, if you see them, you're very lucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Copperheads are hard to come by up there?
Yeah.
Well, I know spots where you can see them.
Yeah.
But if you're not like in the know, you will never see one. I know a lot of people who have lived up here their entire lives and they've never seen a copperhead.
Really? Wow. That's crazy. Here, man, they're like people get pissed off because they go herping. It's like, oh, here's another copperhead. It's like the 5th one of the night and the 50th one of the year,
See, I love copperheads so much, so I would just be like, another copperhead, yes! I just get so excited. They'd be like, stop it! It's like up here we just get garter snakes everywhere, so like it's probably like that. We're like, another garter. I don't even need to touch it. Just go away.
Yeah, go away. Yeah. Oh man. That was one of the things that when I had moved up here, and like one of the first times Kevin and I went out field herping, he was like black racers.
Oh, yeah,
like
racers.
The thing. But in
where you're from,
I'm from, you found them everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
You just found them everywhere, and up here it was like, no, they're a species of concern up here. So if you see them, like we need to talk to Fish and Game and be like, hey, they're here. Like, don't do anything on this land or whatever. And I'm like, man, I'm used to flipping over boards and there's like six of them. Like, what are you doing?
Take off,
Yeah, they're pretty common down here too. Black racers are. And Nerodia. We have a ton of Nerodia around here.
That's so cool.
Oh yeah.
That's another one where I didn't fully appreciate them when I was younger, because like up here we got northern water snakes, but that's the only species of water snake that we get up here. And they generally are not super colorful. Like when they're babies, they got like the bands on them, but then as they get bigger, they turn almost all black.
Yeah.
So like it was tough for me to like, I like finding them and I like catching them and stuff. But it wasn't like, now I look at all the different species and like Clarkii and like the confluence and all that sort of stuff. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, these things are so interesting. And the fact that they like share territory, like more than most other snakes do, comparatively. I just think that that's so interesting that you can find like a whole bunch of them just piled up basking together where like most of
sure
are
like don't touch me. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't do that.
And around here you can find like I don't know if they're different if they're considered different species completely or just subspecies, but there's like yellow belly, banded, plain belly. Like I can't tell them apart. To me, they're just all water snakes. Yeah. But my herper buddies, they obviously there's ways to tell them apart. I just don't know how to do it. Just because, I've never really appreciated them just because, you go to pick them up and they just, musk on you and bite you.
For me, like Nerodia musk is the worst smelling.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's horrible. It's
so bad.
Just so bad. I can't stand it. And it's like once it gets in your hands, it doesn't matter how many times
you can't wash it off.
You can't get rid of it.
Yeah, wash it off. That's at least a solid 3 days of every time you eat something, you're like, oh, it's the worst. Just things you don't think about while you're field herping is like later I'm gonna have to go eat something, and whatever's on my hands is gonna be real close to my face.
Yeah, to me, garter snakes are really bad too. Like I don't know, maybe not as bad as water snakes, but same thing, man. You can't wash it off.
Oh no, you definitely cannot wash it off.
Yeah.
But what's weird, man? When I was younger and I would go field herping, like I would just see a snake and I would like just chase it down and grab it and like I would manhandle it because I was just like I need to grab the thing, and then like. I don't know what it is, like if it's been working at Nerd or just doing whatever I'm doing right now and seeing the behavior that I do with other reptiles, like with my scrub pythons and then with the water monitors at Nerd. But now when I go out and look for snakes and stuff, like the other day I found a water snake and it was sitting out like kind of covered up, and I noticed it, but it was like under the brush. So it didn't like take off because it didn't think that I saw it. So I just kind of like knelt down and just like watched it for a minute, and after like a minute of me being there, it kind of like saw that I was there and like stuck its head up and everything, and I just like gently picked it up, and it took off for a second, but it did not musk. It literally just was like, oh, you're not trying to murder me right now. And it's so different because I just remember like anytime I would pick up a water snake when I was younger, musking, biting, freaking out, losing its mind. And just that little time that I took in between like picking it up and seeing it, it literally, I mean, it ran a little bit, but after 30 seconds, 40 seconds in my hands, it just kind of calmed down and it eventually just stopped. And it was just like taking it in. And if you had told me that like 10 years ago, I'd be like, it's going to get away. And it's just like, if they're animals, they're thinking animals, and they're a lot smarter than a lot of people give them credit for. And it's just so weird to me to think that like I spent so much time just like, I need to do the thing. And I'm going to go on a little tangent here, but this reminds me of when we went and saw Tom Crutchfield last February, and he was talking about how when he used to do alligator shows back in the day, it was man versus beast, and he would get in there and overpower the alligator and drag it out of the water, and he would open up its jaws and like all this stuff to show how I'm a macho man. I'm the master of this beast. And then he's like, now he looks at alligator shows and he appreciates like Gator Boy Chris, where he shows how smart they are, and he'll call over an individual alligator and he'll come right up to him. Like all the rest of them won't move. And it's just that one specific gator. and he can train them to come right up to him. And the way that he interacts with them shows people that they're not like this mindless killing thing. It's not him versus the beast. It's like they're sharing this space, this moment.
Right.
And that just like, that really stuck with me from that conversation that we had with him. It's just like,
yeah,
so
that
weird.
that combined with like witnessing it happen at Gatorland.
Oh yeah.
When there's like 150 alligators and Savannah
calls out
one,
one's name,
and that one is the only one that moves, and you're like, what the hell is happening?
Yeah. It's that, if you told me that, you know, when I was a kid, I would be like, that's not true.
Yeah.
But literally, we're at the pond with 100 alligators, and she calls out one alligator's name, and he's facing the other direction. She calls it twice. He turns right around and swims right over to us.
Yeah,
that's
and
crazy.
None of the rest of them moved. All the rest of them just stood there, and I was like, "Holy moly! How do you do that? That's so cool." I've seen people do it with monitors they get from us, but I always think about monitors as like being a little bit smarter, and then a lot of people just think about alligators as like, "Oh, it eats trash." It's like,
yeah.
It's this mindless killing machine.
Well, I mean, in all fairness, when you watch an alligator try to eat something and it just keeps doing this with its head to pick up the little chicken wing, you know, you can't be imagining all of the intelligence in the world. But then you see something like that and you're like, okay, maybe there is something happening in
something going on upstairs.
Oh my god.
Yeah, a lot of what you guys are doing over there with the monitors is it's unbelievable. Like I had no idea that they could be so socialized and, you know, pet like.
Yeah. It's really nuts. Like we've had a few visitors to the shop recently, and you know, they're always like, I want to see a big monitor, you know. So you get in there with a big monitor, or it comes right out to you. And like for us being there every day, it's like, it's cool, but you know, you get a little desensitized to it. But to have to watch somebody go through that first experience of like, oh my God, this thing just came over to me and like is like hanging out, and it's the most amazing thing. It's there's nothing like it.
One of the monitors that I think really catches people off like that is this monitor named Lorelei, and she's like an older female, but she loves me, man. When I go anywhere near that enclosure, she like comes up to the edge and she'll scratch, and she like, if I open the door, she like reaches out so that I'll pick her up. Like if I sit down anywhere near the enclosure, she'll climb all over me and sit in my lap, and like she loves being rubbed on her chin and her neck. And it's so funny to me because I'm so like desensitized to it. Like I see her when I'm in there and she's like scratching. I'm like, I'll give you attention in a minute. And then I go do something else and I'll come back and like pet her a little bit and then go. But when people come there and they see me like sit down and they're like, she sees that I don't have any food. She just wants to be near me and like, and get some attention and get some love and everything. It blows people's minds because it's like this 5-foot-long monitor that, you know, shouldn't quote unquote act like that. There's no reason for it to want to come to me. You know, most people think of them as just like, oh, they want food, they want this, they want that. Yeah. No, this animal literally wants. It's one of the few reptiles that I'm like, it actually wants your attention. It wants your focus, and she gets it, man. What
is this? Is it a water? Some type of water monitor?
Yeah, she's a big head albino water monitor.
Okay.
And she's like probably 10 or 12 years old, and she's just like, she's amazing. She's my favorite monitor there. She's just the best.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's definitely nothing like it. Man.
Yeah, that's one thing that I've not really ever done a lot with is lizards. Just because of the maintenance, you know, it's so much. There's so much more work than snakes. You know, just with the bugs and the day. You know, having to feed them every day, and it just hasn't. Now, I'd like to eventually have some. Really like, you know, like some of the dwarf monitor species. But you know, it just hasn't. Haven't had, like, you know, I've had like an iguana when I was a kid. But yeah, right.
I had an iguana. I still have scars from my iguana.
Yeah. But other than that, really haven't really done a whole bunch with lizards. So just seeing what's possible through nerds YouTube and people that have gotten animals from you, and it's pretty amazing. Yeah.
Is there any particular species that you're like, if I was going to get a lizard, I get that one? Because like when I was thinking about lizards, Bell's lace monitors are like The
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. If I was, those would probably be the one if I was going to get something big. But I like the Kimberly rocks are my favorite.
Yes, Cloud of Rye. Yes, I love those things. They're beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And then the Pilbaras too are just like really,
Yeah.
really beautiful.
Those are cool. Those are cool. I like the Kimberleys almost have kind of a snake-like appearance with like the
Yes.
really long, skinny head and
tail,
long
yeah.
tail.
Mhm.
So maybe I think it's like the shape of their, just the shape of their head and their
Overall
body
structure, yeah.
that I kind of like on those. And the colors are nice too. Whatever you call them, ocelli or
down the back, yeah.
Yep, I can.
So I don't know. Yeah, maybe one of these days I'll get a couple of those. Yeah,
Be like
now
Eric
that I've
from
got
NPR and just like, oh, I got a couple lizards. Oh my goodness, I have the lizard bug. I need a bunch of them.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's how it happens.
I laugh, but I relate to this so much.
Oh man, I still Bell's Lace Monitor for me is like the pinnacle. If I can get one lizard, that's it. That's the one that I want. And then
yeah, they're amazing looking.
Yeah, the ones that people have been producing now, like John and Dragna, and then like the guys from Saurian Farms, they've been producing these like super clean white and black bells, and I'm like, oh man, that's an amazing lizard. That's just like the coolest thing to me. I love contrast, and I don't know if anything has better contrast than like a Bell's Lace.
I mean, black and white. That's about as contrasty as you can get.
That's a classic. Yeah,
a panda lizard.
Yep, pretty much. Could you imagine if you were able to get one with that kind of aberrancy, or it just looked like a panda? Just saying, that'd be pretty cool.
No. I like them the way they are. Okay, let's not go too crazy.
If you're going for it, you got to go for it. That's all I'm saying.
I guess.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. All right. So we're rounding out our time, but before we end this, we ask all of our guests one final culminating question.
Very important.
That question is, what in the realm of reptiles, be it something in your own collection or something that you've seen over the interwebs, because that's basically what all of our lives have been reduced to, what in the realm of reptiles has you excited about reptiles?
For me, it seems like in the last, I don't know, like I kind of went through a period there where, I did a bunch of shows from probably, I don't know, 05, 06 through, I guess when I met you at Tinley that year, and I guess you said it was 13, where I did Daytona every year and did Tinley a couple times, and then really went, like, for whatever reason, just stopped, didn't work out every year, whatever. I didn't do any shows. And the last time I went to a show was when I saw you at Tinley. I guess it was 19 was the last time they had the big one in October. And it had been 6 years since I had been to a show before that. And I was just blown away at how big it's gotten. Just how many people were there and how big the room is and how many vendors. And, granted, a lot of it is ball pythons, but, it's to me, it's cool that there seems to be that many more people getting in. It seems to be getting more mainstream, if you want to call it that. A lot of new people getting into it. And I don't know what the cause or, what's doing that. I'm sure YouTube and social media and everything else has had some kind of impact on it. But to me, it's cool to see, new people like getting fired up about it and getting into it. Because that really, that just helps us with everything, as far as growing I hate to call it the industry, because it's really, for me, it's more of a hobby than a business. But I know that there's a lot of people that have been able to make a business out of it, and there is probably some world where I could, if I really decided I wanted to do it, could eke out a living doing it. But it's cool that there are so many people that have been able to do it, and it's really just because of the size and how many more how big it's gotten, how much more popular it's gotten than surely when I first got into it. I mean, as much as the big show in Orlando and Daytona grew over the years, just seems like Tinley, I don't know, it was really eye-opening to me to go back after just 5 or 6 years and just see how much bigger it had gotten and how crazy and packed that room is. I mean, it was, it was crazy.
Like, you could get down the aisles and there was like some people in front of the booths and everything, but in 2019 it was like everything was packed. Like you could barely get down the aisles because there was so many people at each booth. It was like even hard to just get through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So awesome. I dig.
Yeah. So I like that. And then, I like the fact that, with kind of the direction things are going with morphs now. And I like that there's new things coming out every year. There's new and, obviously there's going to be trends and things are going to get, played out and overdone and whatever. And eventually things will go back to, just like the normal ball python in 50 years. That may be what you want, but
just a normal ball.
Yeah.
It's cool to see how, kind of everybody can put their own little spin on what they're doing. And just with the combinations that you make and seeing what other people produce every year, every year there's something kind of new and better that comes out. I say better, new and different, so that's really exciting for me.
Awesome.
Hell yeah, man.
All right, man. So if people want to find out more about you and the things that you're doing, where should they follow you on social media?
Pretty much Instagram is where pretty much where I've done everything now. I do have a Facebook account for Red Mountain Herp. Doesn't get used that often for whatever reason. I just feel like it's kind of a waste of time. Like the reach just doesn't seem to be there.
Instagram's so much easier.
yeah. So definitely Instagram.
Your handle is Red Mountain Herp on there.
Yeah, Red Mountain Herp.
Cool.
Boom.
Awesome, man. So thank you so much for coming on.
Yes, thank you
so
much.
Cool
this
talking,
was a lot
man.
of fun.
It's been a minute.
This was a lot of fun. Thanks for having me on.
Most definitely.
Hell yeah, man.
So take care. Have a nice night.
And we'll
You
talk
too.
to you
We'll check
soon.
you out soon,
Yeah.
man.
All right. See you guys.
See ya.